Welcome to the Abundance Code, the podcast where we delve into the secrets of unlocking abundance in mind, money, and meaning. I'm your host, Jason Stanley.
So vision boards really are a great way for you to put pictures that represent things that you want to accomplish in life. And sometimes those pictures are material possessions, sometimes they're more spiritual related, sometimes they're more about how you want to present yourself to the world. And the reason that I like them is because when you look at it, it puts you into that imaginative state, right? Hey, welcome back to the Abundance Code, where we discuss mind, money, and meaning. All right, so today I thought we'd do something a little fun. So we have interns in the office for the summer, and we got in a discussion about setting goals and that type of thing. And I broke out a vision board that I created in 2012 and started sharing that with them. It was kind of neat to see for myself again a lot of the stuff that I had accomplished and that type of thing. And so I thought I'd share that with you guys, talk about why I create that, and then I actually have the interns here with me today. So some of them are going to come on and share with you their vision boards that they're actually creating right now while we talk. So this was their idea. They went and got the poster board, then brought some magazines in. I brought some magazines in. So vision boards really are a great way for you to put pictures that represent things that you want to accomplish in life. And sometimes those pictures are material possessions, sometimes they're more spiritual related, sometimes they're more about how you want to present yourself to the world. And the reason that I like them is because when you look at it, it puts you into that imaginative state, right? You have to go into that imaginative state where you see yourself in living a certain way, right? Whether it's driving a certain car, living in a certain home, or teaching people or helping people, you start to put yourself in that imaginative state. And, Einstein said it best, right? Imagination is everything, right? If you want your kids to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be even more smart, read them more fairy tales. And so there's this process that we go through when we start to imagine things. And everybody kind of knows the old saying, we become what we focus on, or we become what we imagine. And it's nothing mystical. It's not like, oh, well, I daydream about this and I just become this. It gives your brain something to start working on. And your brain really wants to solve the problem. Your brain wants to solve, how do I get to that point? And so when something's important to you, right? And we discussed this with the interns the other day. If something's important to you, a lot of times you'll move heaven and earth to make it happen, right? So if you think about things like that in your life, you think about, things that you've wanted really bad, you felt at the core of your being, you worked hard at it, and that kind of stuff. You started to daydream. You read about what you wanted to accomplish. Maybe it was a material thing that you wanted. Maybe it was a new car, or new something or another, and you had to work for it. But through that whole process, you kept yourself motivated by focusing on it, right? You saw it, you daydreamed about it, that kind of stuff. And I use the example of my son, he's 17 now, but when he was younger, he wanted a Mavic drone, right? One of those nice drones that he could fly around, take pictures, and all that stuff. And I think it was like a $600 drone. And he was really young, and he said, "Dad, can I get this?" And I said, "Well, you have to work and earn the money for it." And I wanted to see if he'd do it, and he did. Not only that, but while he was working for it, and while he was, trying to earn the money for it, every day he was watching videos on that drone. He was talking about it. He was bringing that stuff up on a regular basis. And really what he was doing, it wasn't anything, again, mystical, right? He was keeping himself motivated, and he was finding new ways to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. He would come to me and say, "Hey, if I did this, can I earn money for it?" Or he'd go door to door and, go out and, try to get jobs where he was cleaning people's yards, or, cleaning their cars and stuff like that, because that became very important to him. But he also had a picture of it in his room, right? So he had this picture, and he would talk about this thing. He would research it. He was daydreaming about it. And that became super important to him. If you remember back from one of our previous episodes, I talked about how when you write down your goals, you read them out loud twice a day, right? You start to program that into your mind. We use this as an example all the time. Have you ever gone out and bought a new car? And suddenly you're driving that car down the road and it seems like everybody went and got the same car as you, And why is it that you noticed it all of a sudden? How come you didn't notice all those cars on the road before? And the reason is because that car became important to you. And so adding pictures to your goals a lot of times helps you be able to see things, helps you get into that imaginative state where you actually put yourself there. You feel the emotions, most importantly, of what it's like to have it, right? So, I'm going to share with you my vision board that I made back in 2012, and we're going to talk through some of that as well. But when you're able to get in that emotional state, right, then that feeling of what it's like what it's going to be like for you to have those things or accomplish those things, right? You get in that excited state, you start to actually become motivated, if you will. It's a great way to motivate yourself. Again, I don't think it's anything mystical. I don't think it's, look at this picture and daydream about it and the universe will send it to you. Things just don't work like that, right? There's an element of work that goes into them. But I do think that there's a really important detail to visualizing what you're wanting to accomplish and having those pictures and taking the time to daydream about it, taking the time to put yourself there in that emotional state, right? Our emotions really drive us. And our emotions are very good. A lot of times we think our emotions are not good, but they are. They're really good, and they can be a great motivator for us. And so one of the best ways to get there is to be able to tap into our imagination and the excitement. It also takes you back a little bit, right? So if you think about it, when you're a little kid, you would daydream a lot and that kind of stuff. As we get older, we start not to do that things quite as much. And so what I would say is that the more you can tap into that, the more emotional your goals will become to you, the more motivated you are going to be to accomplish them. And the more you're going to see opportunities to be able to accomplish them, So again, going back to my son who wanted that drone, he was doing everything he could in his power to get the money to be able to buy that thing. And interestingly enough, he lost fear during that time. He's typically a fairly shy individual. He was not afraid to go knock on people's doors to ask if he could do jobs for them to earn money, right? And so he lost that fear. And that was because he was in that high emotional state where he could see the end of what he wanted and that type of thing. And here's another interesting thing is to this day, he still uses that drone. And he knows what it took to get that drone, so he protects it with everything that he has, right? And so it was a really neat thing to be able to witness and watch somebody actually do. But I've used this in my own life, right? And I've seen how this plays out in my own life. And so I'll share this with you real fast. So in 2012, I made this vision board, and I was just starting in the career field that I was in. I'd been out for about 2 years at this point in time. And so, so I created this as pictures of things that I'd like to accomplish. I had a thing on here of somebody teaching. I love teaching people. I love helping people. I love teaching the business that I'm in to other people. And I also love teaching how to do this kinds of stuff. So, this podcast is an accomplishment of that goal, right? I have a picture of a large house on here, and that changed later on for me. I decided I didn't want a big house, right? I wanted to live smaller. I learned a very valuable lesson between the time that I built this board and now, and that was that, the more stuff you have, the more complicated life becomes. And so I like to live a very lean existence, right? I like to live small because I don't want to be complicated. So, but by all means, I could go get the big house if I wanted, right? The watch that I have on here, I have one. I have a goal of being able to go on vacation and do those kinds of things. Here's a really cool one. So the airplane that I have on here, I've talked about loving aviation before. I've talked about flying. It's a big passion of mine. The airplane that I have on here, ironically, the first airplane that I bought, while it was not the same kind that I have on here, the same model, it was almost exactly the same color scheme. And it's kind of cool when those things happen, because you start focusing on something so much, you actually become attracted to that, that color scheme, that style, whatever it is. And in this case, I had focused on this so much that while I didn't get the same model, the model airplane that I got, which was also a single engine 4-seater, just like this one, right, was almost the exact same paint color scheme. And so it's kind of neat to go back and go, oh, wait, look at that. That's pretty amazing how this stuff works. And so again, it's nothing mystical. It's not like, you sit down and look at this and don't do anything, everything's going to come to you. That's not how this works, right? There's a lot of work that goes into this. And I look at this board and think back to 2012, where I was at then and where I'm at today, and the amount of work that it took to get here. It's mind-boggling how much work it took. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if I could go back and do it all over again if you asked me to, right? I was in a different place back then, but this helped keep me motivated, right, when I was first starting to build. And I'm in an industry that less than 28% of the people make it past 3 years. Even fewer make it past 5. So I really had to work hard at being motivated, being excited about what I was doing. And this was a great way to do it. So, as we talk through this, I highly encourage you, take the time to build something like this and do it. Take the time to actually do it. Get a board, get magazines, cut out pictures, put them on there. And as you're putting the pictures on there, just imagine through what it's going to be like when you get to that point and see how you feel doing it. It's fun to do. And it's exciting to do. It's even more exciting to revisit later on. I haven't had this thing out in a couple of years because most everything on here I've accomplished. This was a huge one for me right here, being able to take my kids flying for the first time. I love aviation. I wanted to share that with my 2 boys. I found a picture. I don't know who this guy is and who these 2 kids are, right? But it represented to me what it would be like to have my kids in an airplane with me. And we fly all over the country together now. We go do trips together, and it's so much fun. And now my oldest is starting to work on his pilot ratings as well. And so, again, this was the stuff that kept me motivated, being able to give, having balance in life, obviously being able to have money. I put a picture of a ripped guy on here. I will tell you, it turns out I like food way too much. So I just focus on trying to stay in shape. Maybe I might still pull that off. I don't know. We'll see. But your goals change over time, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The point is to put something out there and start focusing on it. It helps you stay motivated. It helps you stay focused on what you're trying to accomplish. So anyway, with that said, let's grab some of these interns and pull them up and see what they've got, what they're working on. This is always a fun thing to do. So, hey, I figured we'd just do this. I figured we'd bring all of them up. We've got 4 interns here with us this summer. I figured we'd just bring them all up and let them share what they're putting together on these vision boards. This is my favorite thing in the world to see is when young people take the time to do this and can get their imagination going. So many people just don't do it. They don't have a roadmap for life. They don't have a vision of what they want life to look like. And I think the more you do this, the more you're able to accomplish the things that you're after. Again, it just keeps you motivated. It's a lot of fun to do. But I think it's really cool to be able to share this with you guys and let them share this with the world as well. So, Luke, tell me about your stuff.
Yeah, so I probably have a little bit more, too much materialistic stuff on here than I wanted. But
that's okay.
To start off, I have an Orthodox church up here because I'm Orthodox, and I'd like to kind of hope to build my faith in the future, at least my knowledge around it. Yep. I got a couple castles on here, like in Europe, so I'd want to travel and possibly see a castle would be like my goal.
I see you have the ripped guy like I have.
Yeah, I work out here and there, so I'd hope to stay in shape or get into better shape.
Okay.
And then I also have Monaco here, a Grand Prix. I'm in F1, so I want to go.
So cool
I want to go and see some sort of Grand Prix, if that means to go into Austin or
I may have to steal that picture. I've always wanted to go to Monaco for the Grand Prix.
But yeah, a little Ferrari there. Got a Lamborghini here. Not exactly what I'd want, but just maybe a nicer car in the future. A couple watches here. Breitling would be really nice, but I like watches. So a nice watch in the future. So I got a family. I'd hope to have a family and some kids, partner.
You want a Capital One card?
Not specifically a Capital One card, but that's supposed to kind of represent, some sort of financial stability, freedom. Hope to have like a stable job in the future to be able to, live on my own.
Yeah, and so the really cool thing about that, right? While I was joking with him and kind of goading him on having a credit card on there, is that represents financial stability to him. Doesn't mean that he wants to go into debt or any of that stuff, right? So again, these pictures are what they mean to you, and you can really kind of take whatever picture you want and have it mean something. It doesn't have to be super specific. Like he has a car up here. He said, this isn't exactly the car that I want, but I want something like that. And if you remember my board that I brought up a minute ago, I had a car on there. It's an older car, and I like older cars. I don't have the time to work on them right now, but it represented something that I wanted at that point in my life that I was able to work towards. I was able to visualize that and keep myself motivated. So yeah, tell me about this.
That just goes along with family, having a partner, and then I also have some kind of like leisure time. So I enjoy golfing here and there, along with fishing, being out on the lake or the water, and then this kind of skydiver here at the bottom. I'd say I hope to go skydiving, but that's more just kind of like, he's by himself, he's free, he's doing his own thing. So I like my freedom, I want to be able to do my own thing. There's a chef down here. I don't hope to be a chef, but I want to like serve others in the future, give back.
That's awesome.
And then push yourself. I think about this one a lot, especially when I'm working out. So push myself to the edge to my extent, be the best version of myself that I can be. And then got a little house on here. Don't hope to have one in the ocean, but just a nicer house. And then I got a motorcycle here. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle yet, but I like the Ducatis, the older Japanese type. Motorcycles.
Kind of a classic look on motorcycles.
Yeah, cool. Of course.
What I like about this, Luke, is that you have the material things on there, but you balance it out, right? This represents giving back to him, right? The chef represents serving people to him. And I think that's probably one of the most important things as you look at life is not what can you get, but what can you give. And we've talked about that here, right? We've talked about in order to be successful, you have to help other people become successful. And I think that really everything material that you want really starts with that picture right there, right? It starts with what can you give to other people and how can you help them? How can you build the world around you to be better, right? Whether it's, you're helping me right now. You're on this podcast helping me out and that kind of stuff. But really everything that we strive for, if you really want meaning in your life, it has to start from a position of how do I help the people in the world around me, right? And then the material stuff kind of follows suit with that. And there's nothing wrong with having material things. A lot of times we look at it and think, oh, well, I don't really want material things, because of this or that. There's nothing wrong with the pursuit of material things, right? You have to recognize, like I said on my stuff, I decided I didn't want the big house because I learned that the more stuff that I had, the more complicated life became, but it's okay to want those things. It's okay to want to live a nice life and be able to travel and all that stuff. But I do think that it starts with serving others. So Luke, I appreciate it, man. Reagan's going to join us. Reagan's in for our internship program. And while, obviously we're in finance, right? And, we run a financial firm and they're here to learn about being a financial advisor and what all that looks like. I like to throw these things in there where we talk about, your life and how to set goals and all that stuff, because it is important. Like I told you a minute ago, that's what kept me motivated early on in this business, right? And it is a business that's very tough to be in. There's a lot of competition, and you have to be able to keep yourself in that peak state. You have to be able to keep yourself motivated. And again, a vision board's a great way to do that. And so when we started talking about it, they all said, hey, we want to do that. We want to set up our own. And so they're doing those right now today while we're doing this podcast. They're all around the room. You can't see them doing them. So I asked Reagan to come up and share with us what she's got and what this means to her.
Okay. We're a little limited on magazines, so I'm working with what I've got. But we have some travel, because I'd like to be able to travel as much as I can all over the world, far and wide. I have a cool old little car and watch. That's my more materialistic type of things. And then I have a house and horses and cows and a family, a husband, family goals, future lifestyle. And then I also have a church up here for faith reasons. And then there's a few more that I couldn't really find pictures for, like graduating college, getting a job, those sort of things.
Yeah. I mean, so you got a closet here, so this is just for fun.
So materialistic.
A lot of, you want a big closet or you want a lot of clothes?
Both.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah. Again. So the cool thing about doing something like this is there's nothing, there's no right or wrong answer. No, keep that over here for a second. Let's take a look at that. Tell me about this. You want a house with a pool, or what does that represent to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of like the happy life, and a pool. I think a pool is a great thing to strive for.
Nice. Now, I noticed you also put some food up here. What's this represent for you?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to talk about this. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a little bit of a picky eater.
Okay.
So I'd like to broaden my horizon on my food likings.
Okay, so do you not typically eat oysters?
No, not at all.
Really? Oh, I love oysters. Yeah.
A very basic palate.
My suggestion is East Coast, stay away from the Gulf oysters. They taste awful.
That's what I've been told.
In my opinion.
And I have a little bit of working out. I'd like to get a little more fit.
Nice. Yeah. And so she's got a Porsche 356 on here as well. Which is a really cool car. We were talking about that a little bit ago. She's got like a cabriolet Volkswagen on here as well. So I definitely like your taste in cars and that kind of stuff. Cool. So tell me about how was this to build? Was there any feelings with it, any emotions, any excitement with it?
Especially with the travel ones. I have a big travel bug. So looking at these pictures and putting them on made me very excited. I'd like to go see the world. Yeah, gives you a little bit of motivation.
That was one of my big goals whenever I did mine, and it's really cool to be able to do those things now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and I see you got kids and stuff.
Very family oriented.
Yep.
And I'd like to have more job type of things on there, but we were limited to the travel and leisure magazines.
There you go. Yeah. Unfortunately, when you're in this office, I get a lot of travel magazines, and I also have a lot of pilot magazines, so they're somewhat limited on certain things. So we'll get some more magazines together and let them continue on. That's really cool. That's really cool. So have you written down, we talked about this. Have you taken the time to write down goals?
Definitely. I love to write down goals. That's something I've always done. Yeah. I like to visualize too.
Nice.
I think it's important.
Nice. Very cool. Well, what else?
That's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing this up. All right. Well, we got Gia with us now. Again, Gia's an intern with us over the summer. And again, actually, she's the one who went and got all the poster boards for everybody to do this. I was just shocked when they all got so excited about this idea of doing a vision board. So I thought it's, like I said, I think it's just really important that they get to share this and share what's important to them. And it's also neat to see somebody going through this process. So Gia, tell me about yours.
So I have quite a bit of words on mine that I added. It started with my home and where I want to live. So I want to live in California, at least for 10 years. I really want a Spanish style home. I want to keep my stuff organized. It's something I need to work on and make a goal for myself. I really want a vacation home at some point. That's kind of I guess materialistic and not a necessity, but it is a goal. I have a Tesla. I definitely want an electric vehicle at some point. I'm getting nervous.
I showed her. So I drive a Tesla, and I showed her the light show on mine, and now she's sold and wants one herself.
Yeah.
So there you go. Elon, if you're watching, I need a credit of some sort if she buys a car.
And then I have gardening. When I retire, I want to be like a florist and do gardening stuff in my free time. I have traveling as well. Hobbies that I want to keep up with and make sure to like keep relationships with.
Like what kind of hobbies?
I have horseback riding, surfing, art, and reading. That's really it.
And so you've been surfing for a while. How long have you been surfing?
Since I was like 12.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important. You have to have balance in life, right? It can't all just be work and trying to accomplish material things. You have to have those things that are important to you, right? In her life, surfing is important. She used to live on the coast and was able to do that on a regular basis. We're in the middle of smack dab in the middle of Texas. Not so much able to do that right now, although I guess you could go to that new surf park that they're building. But, you know, having those goals, knowing that that's important to you and being able to keep up with that, I think is really important because your hobbies help keep you grounded, in my opinion. And, you know, you guys know that I love aviation. I love everything about aviation. I don't want to do aviation as a career, right? I have a great career, but I'm able to use aviation in what I do, and that's my hobby. And I'm able to keep that passion and that excitement alive for it. So I think it's great that you have those pictures on there as well. So what else?
I have family. So like, I think like a relationship with my children, my husband, and like my wedding is super important to me. I think that's something that like I think about regularly and like plan. I have jewelry on here that's kind of materialistic, but I do really like jewelry and like my collection of my jewelry. That's really it.
Yeah.
I like when I travel, I want to like explore other cultures and really see the other cultures, like food, art that they make, like everything there. Like I really, really want to like dive deep into that.
Nice. And so you get Greece on here. Does this just represent travel?
Yeah. I really want to go to Greece though as well. Europe mainly. I just want to go all over Europe.
Yeah. Where in California do you want to live?
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
So she's even more specific about what her goals are. So that's important as well. So as you're doing this exercise, if you do decide to do it, make sure that you're specific about what you want. The more specific that you become, the more real that it becomes to you, the more you're going to feel the emotions with it. Have you been to Santa Barbara?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My friend is at the UCSB, the college out there, and I go stay with her a lot.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
I love it out there.
Yeah. So going there, do you feel the emotions? You feel the tie to want to be able to move there?
Yeah, for sure.
Helps keep you motivated, right? That's also a great tool to do is, whether you're looking at a new car or you're looking at, something that you'd like to accomplish material-wise. Going and being in that place or being in that thing, right? Whether it's a new house, a new car, or in this case where she wants to live, actually going there and seeing it and feeling the vibe of what it's like to be there and putting yourself there in your own imagination. That helps you a lot. That really drives motivation, even probably more so than just having some pictures up. But I think having the pictures on the board helps you to do that. If you can go get in that space, if you can go do that stuff, like I said, it's easier to do with some material things, right? If you're able to go do those, go into that house that you like, tour it, see yourself living there, that kind of stuff. I think it just helps drive that emotion behind what it is that you want to accomplish and keeps you motivated. So very cool. Thank you, Gia. I'm going to share one more with you. So we got William with us. Again, William's an intern as well. And this is his vision board. William, tell me about yours.
All right, so I'll start at the top. First, we got golf. So I'm a pretty bad golfer right now. So I want to get better at that.
Okay.
Play with my friends, hopefully compete with them. And I want to get a dog soon, hopefully within the next 10 years. Maybe not that exact dog, but some sort of dog. I want to start a family, and I want to travel with my families. So I kind of killed two birds with one stone with that picture. Have the family and the travel. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Nice.
Big house. Maybe not that exact house right there, but pretty cool house. I think that house is on the lake too, so so I want a lake house as well.
Okay.
Investment banking in New York, so that's kind of like the career that I'm looking at right now. So I'm really striving to achieve that. That's probably my biggest goal on here so far. And then get married, be a good husband to a wife, find a wife, hopefully sometime soon. We'll see. Be a good father for my kids right here. Get a Rolex, hopefully. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe not that exact watch. I want to get a beach house again, or maybe just a vacation home in general.
Right.
And then have a cool car collection down here. Probably not those exact cars. Actually, I would love that car collection though. If I
Actually,
could.
that's some pretty good cars right there.
I
I'd take that car collection.
yeah. And then I have this is a Ritz-Carlton cruise ship, but I kind of just picked that as like a yacht. I know that's kind of like a extreme goal, but just reach for the moon, and if you miss, you land on the stars. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And then at the bottom, I have there's this guy, and he's in between a Rolls Royce and a private jet, and I just kind of envisioned him as like a boss, kind of, that's like a mentality that I want to adapt. So and that's pretty much everything. Not too much on it, but
nice.
So when you said the yacht, you're hoping to accomplish being able to have a yacht at some point in time. Yeah. Okay. So look, there's no thing that is off limits as you build these things out, as you start to write goals for your life, as you start to put pictures together that you want your life to represent. Your imagination is key, and he can see himself being able to do that, and that is the key to that. Now, like he said, if I get there, I get there. If I don't, I'm probably still a lot better off than what I was before, and I think that's really telling that you understand that first and foremost, because as you start to try to achieve things, right, you're not going to hit everything. You're not going to accomplish everything, right? There are going to be things that come up. There are going to be things that kind of, knock you down and that kind of stuff. But you're absolutely going to end up a lot better off than if you had not tried at all, And so I hope you get the yacht just simply because I want to go on it. And, I like having friends that have yachts that I can go on. So, I expect to get a phone call as soon as you get a yacht. If you buy the Ritz-Carlton yacht, I'm going to be even more impressed.
I need like 30 years, maybe 40 years.
Well, you never know. You never know. Things can happen a lot faster than what you think. It's kind of whatever you believe is possible. I like the golf one too, because I have the golf one on mine. I'm still not good at golf. I've been trying for a long time, but it's a fun, relaxing way to spend an afternoon a lot of times. So investment banking in New York. Mm-hmm. You want to live in New York City?
Yeah, I want to experience it for a few years. Obviously, I don't want to live there for the rest of my life because it's really hectic. But everyone hears the stories, hears about all the action that goes down in there, and I love business, I love finance. And that's kind of the big finance center of the U.S. at least. So I think that'd be awesome.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's really cool. Well, I appreciate you sharing all this with me.
Thank you.
So, but again, I think that's great insight to say, hey, look, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to focus on this. It's a big, huge goal, right? And it's probably not as big as what he thinks it is, but it's a big, huge goal to him. And even if I don't get there, I'll probably get somewhere close to there, or, be able to experience that in some form or fashion. And, in my own life, I've been ever amazed at where I've ended up and the things that I've gotten to do just simply by putting myself out there, by putting the ideas out there, by focusing on things. I've traveled the world. I've gotten to go on a private yacht all through the Greek Isles. It was really cool. You do feel really special when you get to do that. I've been invited to go do things with people that, most people don't get to go do. And it's nothing other than the fact that I was focused on a goal. I was working towards something, and I got to go do it, So again, these aren't mystical things. These aren't, like sit and think good thoughts and good things happen to you. This is, focusing on what you want, focusing on what you want to accomplish in life, seeing that, being able to imagine that, feeling the emotions with it, and letting those emotions keep you motivated, keep you driving forward. I think that's the most important thing. So as you go forward, I hope you keep this somewhere where you can see it on a daily basis, where you can, you're just sitting there in your chair, you look back, you see it, and you go, oh, yeah, and you start to focus on that. Because the more you do that, the more you're going to be driven, the more you're going to look for the opportunities to be able to accomplish these things. And again, our brains really just want to solve those problems. And a lot of times we'll take ourselves out of our comfort zones in order to accomplish certain things. A minute ago, I had Gia up here. She told me, she said, I hate being on camera. I don't like doing this kind of stuff. But she took herself out of her comfort zone to come up and share with you guys those kinds of things. And it's interesting. I would say that maybe just the excitement of having those goals, having that vision board, allowed for her to kind of push through some of that hesitancy to get herself on camera, and so I gave you the example of my son who got over his shyness, went door to door to go figure out how to earn money to buy what he was trying to accomplish. So again, your emotions can be great things, and when you get really excited about something, all of a sudden a lot of stuff falls away, and the more excited you become about it, the more focused you are on it, the better the likelihood is that you're going to accomplish those things. So anyway, as I've always said, buck the status quo in order to grow. And until next time,